Ai Weiwei, l'artiste le plus controversé de Chine.
Peintre, sculpteur.
C'est un activiste, c'est un militant.
Le cyberdissident le plus provocateur à l'égard du Parti communiste chinois.
Accusé de fraude fiscale et détenu au printemps 2011.
Il lutte pour les droits de l'homme, pour la liberté d'expression. Il utilise justement sa notoriété aujourd'hui pour aider les réfugiés. Il le fait vraiment avec beaucoup d'humanité.
I have a difficult life. It doesn't make me weaker or stronger. I just have to face it.
It's going to be a big challenge to recognize that the world is shrinking and people from different religions, different cultures are going to have to learn to live with each other.
Human flow is the title of the movie, like simple, very basic question. What is your definition of a human?
Good question. One species on the planet, no difference from other animals, but have emotion and can make films.
In the movie, you touch a lot of people. You are looking them into the eyes. You follow them. Is it a way to feel human?
Yes, I think you often ask yourself, am I a human? What in front of your camera is a human? We can feel pain. If we lost our children in the ocean, we cry. If we lost too many people, we cry because we have a memory. But we lost our home. We go to somewhere, nobody recognizes us, and then they don't care. They think you're dangerous only because you don't speak same language, you don't have the same kind of belief or religion. So that's, we call it tragic.
How do you explain that the people who are living this tragedy that you describe in Human Flow, all the migrants, all those people are crying, and the people who are like building this frontier, are they human or not?
Also human. Human can have love, human can have hatred, human can nurse a baby or carry them in the dangerous journey, and the human kills them. Humans throw bombs, selling weapons, design nuclears, and kills each other. They are human.
What is the most human thing that you saw when you were doing this movie?
I know a young boy carries an old lady, 80, 90 years old, all the way in the mountains, carry on the back. He doesn't know her. She cannot walk. So I see those families, they are suffering together. No complaint. They know that's their journey.
In your artistic work, you oftenly worked with objects. Like when you did this object, this Chinese object with Coca-Cola. There is one object in that movie who is like obsessing and who must be the object in the dreams of all the migrants is the passports.
I show my Chinese passport. Huh? I also have a passport.
Yes, we changed the passport.
I become a Syrian, you become a Chinese, right?
Yeah.
Oh, where's my passport? Oh, here's my passport.
What can you tell us about this object?
Passport means we accept it as our nationality, which has become so important as human identity. Very often the passport, unfortunately, doesn't mean anything. This refugee hold his passport, nobody recognizes. His nation abandoned him, but he still thinks that's important. Otherwise, he lost everything. So every refugee hold a passport. My passport, when I show this refugee, only come back to me 3-4 months. My state doesn't give back my passport. I cannot travel. I will say under detention.
Arrivée jeudi de l'artiste chinois Ai Weiwei à l'aéroport de Munich. Depuis 4 ans, le dissident était privé de passeport par les autorités chinoises. Il a pu le récupérer mi-juillet. Muni d'un visa à entrée multiple pour l'Allemagne, Ai Weiwei compte désormais voir son fils installé à Berlin.
The passport really means everything. You see in airport, some passport means pass, some passport means stop.
What do you expect people think when they look at this human, international, present tragedy?
I think as artists, whatever we make is like a mirror. We hope people see through the work about themselves. It serves both a window, look at the world, look at how other people live, and as a mirror to reflect their own judgment. So every individual would have very different judgment according to his own understanding or history.
Even if you're an artist, you stay human. But as a human, how can you sleep with all what you've seen?
The more immune you are to people's suffering, that's very, very dangerous. It's critical for us to maintain this humanity.
You have to make yourself extremely tired. Then you have very sound sleep.
Because I saw the movie, and even when I saw the movie, like sometimes before to sleep, I'm thinking about it. And I was wondering like how you can live with that, with all what you see, because no human can take all this suffering and walk in peace.
If children grow up without any hope, without any prospects for the future, without any sense of them being able to make something out of their lives, then they will become very vulnerable to all sorts of exploitation, including radicalization.
I cannot sleep. I wake up in midnight, then I think about doing another work. I want to use work to release my energy and my emotions. So that's why I still make another work. All my works are relating to human dignity, humans' emotions, how we understand ourselves, how we want the world to look at us, and to set up human connection. So all those things, I think, are connected. Refugee is not born as refugee. It's being pushed. Their fate being designed by someone they don't know.
If we talk about your personal history and your family history, like there is one word, is public enemy.
Ai Weiwei, welcome back. I cannot talk. I'm so sorry. 我是被取保候选人。那你有认罪吗？有认罪吗？你认为你？
That could be the name of your family. Like your father was a public enemy. You are a public enemy in China. How can you live with that? What is your situation now with China?
My father was a poet. Before he was a poet, he studied in Paris in 1929, when he was 19 years old. In Paris, he learned painting, but once he went back to China, he was jailed. Then in jail, he started to write his memory about France, read his understanding about liberty, justice. Then he joined the Communist Party to establish the new nation. He's the first generation of writers establish a new nation. Then his nature as an individual and as an intellectual being punished by Communist Party again. Exiled for 20 years. The year he exiled, 1957, I was born. So it's very symbolic. I was born with discrimination and insult to my family. I grew up with him. So that's short history. Then very much later, I went to the United States for 12 years. Went back to China and to see my father before he passed away. So I stayed there till 2005. I got on internet. So that's the first time I can openly talk about all the issues. So I got crazy. Oh, that was time I was getting totally crazy. 24 hours on the internet. Write. I write 2.5 million words in 4 or 5 years. Each day 3 articles. I become independent media. Draw a lot of attention. A lot of followers. My post over 27 million people read it. But suddenly got crashed. They said you have to stop it. You cannot do it anymore. So that's my little history and short being jailed, detained, and all more violence, getting more violence. Then finally giving passport, I have to leave. So,
what is your definition of freedom?
My definition of freedom is through struggle. Freedom without struggle is empty words, has no meaning.
You've been all around the world. Have you seen a free country?
No, I don't see a free country. I see country abandoned freedom. I see people don't understand the words of freedom, think they have freedom. I see people seeking for freedom, but never get so-called freedom. I see all kind of conditions.
Do you believe in God?
I don't have a name for God, but I believe a super power which creates the idea of a God. I think I'm a believer in the deeper sense, but not in the practice religion.
In the future, like the first nation, the first power will be the China. Second, the US. Third, India. Is it the beginning of this human flow? Is it the beginning of a bigger struggle?
According to scientists, the human out of Africa is the beginning of human flow. You know, we all come from somewhere. We never really rooted just one location. And that's how we survived. That's how every race becomes stronger, because we go somewhere, we get mixed, we challenge the ideas, we learn how to tolerate, we understand the difference. Then society becomes more colorful, stronger, and more ideas, more creativity. And we enjoy the prosper of the variety, you know, challenge of the difference.
The beginning of a human flow is the end of what?
The beginning of human flow is end of pureness, totalitarian, you know, segregation, hatreds, indifference.
According to you, who is the most dangerous people in the world?
There's ignorance. People refuse to sense, to feel, to understand the weakness of a human being. That's the most dangerous. If someone thinks he's elite, powerful, that's very dangerous, I think.
I would like people who are watching this interview are going to see the movie, because when I'm watching you in the eyes, I'm seeing somebody who saw death face to face. You saw death in your movie. When you saw death so close, how do you manage with life?
I don't think I can never really manage of life. I'm product of some unknown reason. And it comes, it goes. So.
Can you be happy sometimes?
I'm full of joy. I'm full of curiosity. Even in the saddest moment, I'm very joyful. You can see in the movie, I'm quite, I see humor in human activity.
You're trying to put some humor in this movie, even in the most tragical moments.
You have this, I have
Thank you very much.
What's my new name?
Mahmoud.
Mahmoud.
Yes.
Abdullah Mahmoud.
I'll give you my tent.
My name is Ai Weiwei. So
Ai
next
Weiwei.
time
Yeah.
you're Ai Weiwei, I'm
Al Mahmoud. Nice to meet you. If you want to take my tent, it's
take your tent
Yeah.
too. Then you have to take my studio in Berlin. I have a studio in Berlin.
Is it a definition of your art to take the most dark stuff and transform it?
I think the art is a combination of unspeakable condition. We are doing it at the same time we are critical and we doubt about our decisions. We have the force which against each other.
And right now, on Twitter, people are always arguing about minority issues. They are struggling for it to make understand their fight. But people that we see on Human Flow are invisible on the social medias.
I think today we are in better condition because internet. Someone like me can still make argument because the internet. If without internet, I will not sit here and you don't know me. So I'm an example of communication. Maybe not very bad example. So I often say internet gives the individual the power to speak out. Even your sailing boat, you have to wait for the wind. Internet is the wind. I make a flag become a flag. Without wind, a flag is not a flag. So we have that wind.
It's also a win with some fake news and some governments and some forces who are dictating stuff to the people too.
Yeah, it's always like that. It's always trash, always some kind of food which is not good for your nutrition, but still selling, in the world. This is reality. Internet has fake news, but fake news without internet is still there. It just makes more people hard to identify as fake news. But internet, I think fake news doesn't have real life there because it's counter information. That's most important. You get a balanced view. Of course, with certain people, if they only like to eat certain food, then it will be tragic to their health. But for most people, we have to trust that people have judgment.
On the internet, there is no frontier. Do you think that we have to stop those frontiers?
I think we still have a frontier, but it's in our heart, our judgment, our emotions, our understanding. Anything human created has to finally come back to benefit ourselves, because that's why we create something like that.
Do you think that one day you can go back and live to China, or you want to live somewhere else?
Depends that day, how long that day is. Not today, we're sitting here. Not tomorrow, I still have something to do. But China, many of my friends in jail. My lawyers are in jail. And my colleagues are in jail. So if I go back, I have to decide, do I want to stay in jail?
There is no way to have another solution.
There's a way. Since I'm moving, human flow, water are flowing. So we have to wait sometimes. We need patience.
Can we talk about the sea?
The sea?
Yeah, because in your movie we saw beautiful shots of the sea. And in our childhood memories or adult memories, we think that the sea is like holidays. But in your movie, the sea is a major problem.
As a human, we are so unique to be created in this very rare condition. We call it planet Earth. This is so rare. Still today we see all the stars all the other planets, we couldn't find a suitable condition for life. And to have this life is a miracle, because Earth's condition is a miracle. It can disappear. And as human, our relations towards our own surroundings, planet, is quite hostile. We don't really respect it. We try to exploit the condition. We're very greedy. We're very hostile to other animals. Use all the resources, almost like you couldn't see any other species. You cannot imagine another species as suicidal like human being. We not only hate the other nature, indifference about the nature, but we also hate human beings. We design nuclear bombs. We're selling billions of dollars weapons for unstable area. We make them as tragedy to profit our own interests. Talk about the ocean. Fishes are disappearing in the ocean, polluted. And the species are harmed. And our weather are changing dramatically. And, it's quite suicidal.
What can you say before we say goodbye to the people for who migrant is just a word that they see in the newspaper? What can you say to those people to understand what's going on in the world?
I think as a human, as someone you think yourself are conscious, as someone you think you love your own children and you should respect your parents, then you have to pay attention to other people's suffer. Otherwise, you denounce yourself.
And can we talk about Paris?
Yes.
In the movie, you went to Paris?
Yeah, my team. Situation like this, I hope doesn't reflect French people. But if it does, it shows very narrow-minded or at least indifference to other people's suffer. It's not a healthy, strong nation.
Last question. Ai Weiwei, this show is called Clique. What is your definition of a clique?
Clique? Clique means a quick sound or move, maybe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Je suis en danger, je chante le